Here is your latest Manchester United transfer news this Saturday lunchtime, the 22nd of June. A week on Monday, Manchester United go back for pre-season training. So we're going to do a deal a day. One deal in the next 8 days to get what Ollie wanted, which was all this business done. But the boys, I'm not speaking Irish here. The boys have made a decision. The boys. De Ligt, De Gea. See what I did there? So let's start off with David De Gea. Let's start off with the positive. We will be talking about that on the left. I think it's really interesting. I want to talk about that in a moment. It's not my predicted lineup for United next year. It's something I saw. It's got 4 signings in it. Is it enough? I'll talk about that in a moment. But let's start off with David De Gea. Now, this has come out of the Sun. Now, don't walk away. Don't say it's a load of rubbish because it's come from Neil Custis in the Sun. And I've always said this about Neil. He may well write for a paper that a lot of people don't like, but he does come out with information in relation to Manchester United every now and again that is very accurate. He was right about Pogba at the start of the season. He was right about Lukaku. He was right about Rooney. He's been right about quite a few things. And hopefully he's going to be right about this, because what he said about De Gea is, beans, 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 people in the live comments. You know I like saying beans, 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 even if I don't like the person who said it. But so, De Gea has been offered, has had a contract on the table for quite a while. We all know that as Manchester United fans. £300,000 a week is reported what was on there. The Manchester United are confident they can get him to sign a contract for £350,000 a week. It would be a 4-year contract with the option for another year, which United always seem to do, that option of another year. What is expected to happen is it won't be signed anytime soon. They expect David De Gea to sign that contract once De Gea has seen what the transfer activity is of Manchester United. So we'll be looking at this being signed around August time. And that, again, is a positive to me, because if De Gea signs this contract now, yeah, it's great. It's like, you know, we haven't got to replace one of the best goalkeepers in the world. Absolutely ecstatic about it. But if he signs it now, great. But it's better for us if he waits till August, and then if he doesn't sign it, you go, because we've done a crap transfer window, great, because it's sort of an incentive for Woodward and everyone else to pull their finger out. If De Gea is saying, look, it's a great contract, I'll sign it, but only when I see that there is some proper ambition, because, to be honest with you, if there's not much change to that team last season, there's no point in De Gea staying. He's just going to be doing what he's doing for the last 6 years, really, fighting to keep the team relevant. That's not good enough, really, to be in the top 4. So I'd be very, very pleased if we can get this David De Gea contract done. I think it should be parked until after the transfer window. De Gea can take his time and see if we've been active in the transfer window enough for him to want to stay. We've got that challenge to do that. And De Gea, obviously, let's announce it in August when the transfer window is closed. So I'm really positive about this. I'm really pleased about De Gea. I hope you lot are as well. It's positive news. I think Neil Custis is quite reliable at times, and I hope he's going to be reliable with this. And yeah, it's another problem we don't have to solve. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because I think even I fell into the trap back in May. I was like, oh, De Gea's probably going to go, Pogba's going to stay, because that's what a lot of the credible sources were saying, a lot of the top Reds were saying. But as I moved into later May and was speaking to people, it became abundantly clear that Pogba wanted to leave Manchester United. Now, whether Pogba can force that move or not is another matter. But De Gea, especially with Mata staying, I think if Mata had gone, I'd have been worried. But with De Gea, with Mata staying, and look, De Gea wants to go and play in Madrid. De Gea would. There's only 2 clubs I think De Gea wants to go to: Barcelona and Real Madrid. Neither are possible. So going to PSG, what's the point? What's the point? You may as well stay at Manchester United. Juventus maybe, but I don't think they're going to move for him. So I think it's Barcelona or Real Madrid for De Gea, and they're not an option at the moment. So he'll stay at United. I really do think he will. I think he will sign that contract, and that's great news. That is great news, because if we are bringing Wan-Bissaka in, and he should be unveiled next week because he'll be back from the under-21s because they're crap. Then you've got a very good right back defensively. I trust Luke Shaw and Lindelof. You've got one of the best goalkeepers in the world. You bring a top-class centre-back in, and we've got a defence to build with there. And also, De Gea would be here for the next 4 years. Wan-Bissaka would be here for a long time. Luke Shaw will be here for a long time. Lindelof will be here for a long time. And the new centre-back will be there for a long time. Now, see what I did there? I've fed it into the centre-back quite nicely. So, De Ligt, transfer decision. Looks like he's going to... Top Reds, are you ready? In the nose, are you ready? Well, I tell you what, like a nudist's penis on a hot day, you're about to get exposed, because he ain't coming to United. He's going to Juventus, apparently. Yeah, all these bloody... I'll tell you what this summer has been so far. It's been the summer of the bullshitter. The amount of people on Reddit, the amount of people on Twitter who've tried to get followers by saying that they've got leaks and sources at Manchester United. They've got no source. They got no source. They're like McDonald's when they run out of ketchup. They are out of sauce. They got no sauce because De Ligt and all this crap about medicals and this, that and the other was obviously a load of crap. Now, I'd love to be proved wrong on that. I'd love to be totally shocked and he does come to Manchester United, but it was clearly never going to happen. Welcome to Manu Joseph, latest member of the United Stand Members Club. So yeah, I mean, look, the story with De Ligt was that it was Barcelona, then it was PSG, and it looks like it's going to be Juventus now. He could still go to PSG, he could still go to Barcelona, but Juventus apparently in a £62 million deal. And you've got, again, look, we get very frustrated with Manchester United. I really want to talk about that on the left. I'm trying to focus on the live comments and not look at it too much. But look, in relation to Juventus, I can only applaud them because 2 years ago, Juventus were a team that was winning Serie A comfortably, but they're not really a team that was going to win the Champions League. And for their ownership has just suddenly decided, you know what, we want to be one of the biggest clubs in Europe. And it just shows if you are a club, a big club, you can do that with the right investment. I mean, they brought Ronaldo in. That shocked a lot of people. But they're bringing a lot of players in. And De Ligt would be a very good signing for them because they've got an ageing back line and it'd be a good signing for them. So De Ligt looking like he's going to Juventus. Not coming to Manchester United, of course. He could still shock everyone and come to United, says Prince Roberts. You carry on. You don't let anybody tell you you're wrong. Stick with it. Stick with it. You stick with it. You stick with those fake in the nose. But no, look, he could come to United and no one would be more happy than me. But let's be honest, their chances are ridiculously slim. And I think a lot of the De Ligt fever was because of the bullshitters feeding it out for followers. There was not really that much out there in the press about United, and there certainly hasn't been for a long time. But the interesting thing about De Ligt is that if he does go to Juventus for 60 million, where are Juventus getting this money from to buy Pogba then? Like they really they're interested in Pogba, they're interested in Ndombele. They're interested in all sorts of players, but they're going to sign De Ligt for 60 million. Where are you signing Pogba then? And I think that becomes quite interesting because, as you can see on the left there, this was a predicted 11 for Manchester United next season, or a possible 11, however you want to call it. Welcome to Levine Pradeep, the latest member of the United Stand Members Club. Thanks for joining, pal. You'll get your little badge next to your name now when you're commenting. But yeah, look, when you look at the situation with Pogba, I think he clearly wants to leave Manchester United, but where is he going to go? Where is he going to go? And that's the interesting thing for me. Where is he going to go? Because I don't think that Manchester United. I don't think that Juventus, if they do sign De Ligt, are going to find 150 million. And Real Madrid, with all the players they've signed, where are they going to find 150 million? So for all those people that want Pogba to stay at the club, he might end up staying against his will in many ways in the old golden cage, because he's sort of trapped himself, isn't he? Because he's so valuable as an asset with 3 years left on his contract. Players, he might want to leave to go for a new challenge, and clubs might want to take him, but where's he going to go? And Juventus don't really have the players that we would want to swap for Pogba. They don't have them. They're not going to give us the players we want. And the same goes for Real Madrid, you know. So there is that. I think De Gea's going to stay, but you know what? We might deliver a situation where Pogba stays, and I don't think that's a good thing. I don't think it's a good thing throwing money at a player who doesn't want to be here to make him stay because he can't go anywhere else. I don't agree with that, but he could well be here next season, because I'm starting to think, where's he going to go? Where's the options going to go? So when we look at that team on the left there, and Rabiot looks like he might go to... Yeah, if Rabiot goes to Juventus, how are Juventus even going to get Paul Pogba? But we'll wait and see. It's an interesting transfer window. Welcome to Sabtak Day, latest member of the United Stand Members Club. We really need a centre-back, says Malon. Well, let me just go to this for a moment, because also I just want to say, it is Saturday. The latest transfer news from United, obviously we've spoken about De Gea, De Ligt. Look, there's little bits about Bruno Fernandes again from the Portuguese press. There's been little bits about that for the last 2 weeks. I don't think there's anything we need to worry about there. Wan-Bissaka will obviously play the last game for the under-21s on Monday or Tuesday night. Then he'll be coming back because they're going out. There's nothing with the right winger. There's nothing with any other midfielders. And there is nothing about the centre-back. So what are United doing? I actually heard somebody say today that Ed Woodward's on holiday. Now that is only a rumour. That cannot be accurate. I mean, how can the man who's involved in negotiations be on holiday in the critical 2 weeks for United to sign players? I don't know. Mata and De Gea signed. Do you think Herrera may stay, says Jimbo? We spoke about that before. I can't think how that how Herrera would still stay at the club, but it happened with Fellaini. Everyone thought Fellaini was leaving, and then he did actually end up staying. I love Herrera. We should never have let him go. But if we did get him to stay now, I think it shows desperation, to be honest. I think it's time for him to move on. A few people talking about Dean Henderson. Had a nightmare for the under-21s last night. I think he just needs to go on loan to Sheffield United and mature a bit and get some experience in the Premier League. He'll be a good goalkeeper in the future, but not for now. Anyway, let me just say this in relation to that team on the left. This is a team I saw today. I think it was in the Express or something like that. And it was a predicted lineup for next season. Don't hold any weight on it because it's just somebody's predicted lineup. But what I liked about it was that it's got 4 signings in it. And I wanted to show it to you to get your opinion on it. And if Levine Pradeep says, I absolutely love your content, Mark. Keep up the amazing work. De Gea for team captain, maybe, if Pogba leaves, and Young is a sub. I'd give it to De Gea over Pogba anyway because of what Pogba said. But, yeah, I would give it to De Gea. Yeah, I would. So and especially if he signs a new contract. So that 11 there: De Gea, Lindelof, Diop, Wan-Bissaka, Shaw, McTominay, Pogba, Fernandes, James, Rashford, Martial. It's got 4 signings in it: Fernandes, James, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and Diop. Monetary value: 15 million for James, 60 million for Fernandes, 75 million. Wan-Bissaka, 50 million, 125 million, and Diop, probably 50 million, so 175 million on those 4 players. They're good, centre back, right back, one midfielder, right winger. What's your thoughts on that? Because my initial thoughts when I looked at that is, well, it's got Bruno Fernandes in, good. It's got Aaron Wan-Bissaka in it, good. Daniel James is more than welcome to come and develop here, good. And Diop is better than most centre backs that we've got, but that's not enough. And that really scared me when I saw that 11 because I was like, well, it's got 4 signings in it. 4 signings in a summer window is normally not that bad. That's not enough. That team that's not doing any major shakes in the Premier League. I'm sorry, that is not a title winning side. It's not going to develop into a title winning side. It is woefully short. Even though it's got 4 signings in it, even though it's got a very good defensive right back, it's got a good centre back, it's got a very, very good midfielder in Bruno Fernandes, and Daniel James has got a lot of potential. That's not enough, and it terrified me. It really did, because I thought, well, there's 4 signings, over £150 million spent, and that isn't good enough. That is not good enough. We need better than that. And it really brought it home to me, the enormity of the job we've got to do. Because do you trust Rashford to score 30 goals a season? Only if he starts opening his eyes on crosses. Do you trust Martial to be consistent? Do you trust Pogba to be consistent? Do you think McTominay's good enough to be a starter in a Manchester United team that's trying to finish in the top 4? Do you think Daniel James really should be starting or would start? It's probably going to be Mata or Lingard. So even with 4 good signings, and they are good signings, it still doesn't look good enough to me. How can Juve afford Ligt though? Says Jin Amarasingh. Well, I don't think they've spent anything yet, have they? Juventus, so they will have a transfer budget. Irving Lozano for right wing, says Carson Wilson. What happened to those players with lots of quality who wanted to come, says Luke Davis. Well, we're going to find out. It's sad that even with 4 signings, the team on the left does not look that great, says Cookie D11. And you've hit the nail on the head there. They're good signings, and the players already there are good players, but you can still see, in my opinion, a massive problem with that 11, that it's good, it's better than last season, but it's not Liverpool, Man City, or probably even Spurs good. It's 4th best good. It's battle with Arsenal and Chelsea good. And that's with 4 signings. And that's the enormity of the job Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's got. Because he might not even get those 4. But I think, to be honest with you, I would like to see somebody coming in for that McTominay position. I like McTominay being on the bench. If you took McTominay out, well, somebody just said in the live comments then, instead of being critical about it, what would you do? Which is a great point. I accept the challenge. Thank you. High five. So if we bought those players there, and I personally would prefer a different centre-back to Diop, I would take McTominay to the bench, and I would like to see a Thomas Partey or a Rabiot or an Ndombele in that position, and suddenly that midfield's very, very good. It is good. Pogba, Fernandes and an Ndombele or a Rabiot or a Partey is very good. And I would take James to the bench with McTominay. I've got nothing against those 2 players, just they're bench players. And I would bring in Irving Lozano. And in that situation, that team's suddenly a lot better. You've got Irving Lozano on the right. It doesn't have to be Lozano. It could be Nicolas Pepe as well. Just a really proven right winger of top quality. And a midfielder in there of quality. Those two would make a big difference to me. I mean, ideally, I don't know whether I trust Rashford, but are we in for a top-class striker? I mean, that's what we're going to do. So yeah, it would be those two positions. I just want to bring better players in, to be honest with you. And I think then you've got a chance to be maybe toppling Spurs in third and maybe pushing towards Liverpool and Man City. But and maybe it's a team that can grow. Thoughts on Sanchez's form at the Copa America, says Molecular Gaming. I mean, he's playing Farmers, isn't he? He's happy because he's where he wants to be. He's not happy at Manchester United. He never has been. International football's not as fast-paced or frenetic as the Premier League. And he's playing teams that aren't that good as well. There's people on social media saying Sanchez has scored 2 goals in 2 games for Chile. Let's give him another chance. Well, here's another stat for you. Sanchez has earned over 26 million in the last 18 months for Manchester United and contributed, he's made as much impact as a butterfly's fart, hasn't he? As I said on Twitter earlier. And I've seen him with my own eyes. I've been to Old Trafford, I've seen Alexis Sanchez, and he's not good enough. He's lost a yard of pace. He's not good enough. We need to move him on. And he's not happy at Manchester United either. So maybe at Chile he's doing a little bit better because he's happier, but he's not happy at United. He's not good enough. For me, he's an MLS player. That's what I think he is. I don't think he's not a Premier League player anymore. Napoli are after James Rodriguez. Chance for United to go after Lozano, says Fifth Mellow Music. Exactly. We spoke about that in the week. That could be quite a positive thing. Please smash a like on the video, everyone. We've got a lot of people watching, so smash a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe if you're new. Bottom right-hand corner. Toby Alderweireld, centre-back, if budget is low, and try to do some good elsewhere in the midfield, says Jobin George. We could be holding out for Toby Alderweireld, but that deal can't be done till the first week of August because that's when his 25 million release clause comes into play. So it's an interesting theory. What I would say is I would guarantee to you, or more or less guarantee, that Sky sources will say United are close to signing somebody or are interested in signing somebody or have made an offer for somebody around 4 o'clock today, because it was last Saturday at around 4 o'clock it came out about Issa Diop, and I think it's a slow day. There's not a lot of football going on, so I think that something will be regurgitated out today about Manchester United. We've not had anything so far, but there will be, because they'll need something to keep people interested. So I expect a story to come out about United later on this afternoon. We'll see. Is Rashford a good number 9 for us, says Gerald Marangi. Well, Rashi is Ollie's man, isn't he? And Ollie's a striker, so he's going to back what he thinks is right, and I think he thinks Rashford's right. I think on the last few months of the season, you'd say no, but maybe with a bit of a break, Rashford can do it. I think one of the things that Rashford needs to do is just realise he's not the finished article. And all this social media stuff he does with Lingard and all this backing he gets from Ollie, I really hope in his head he realises he's still got a lot to learn, because his finishing is erratic. He does close his eyes from crosses when it's on his head. His free kicks are a joke, but they're all things that he can improve. I do believe he's a very good player, and I think he's got a great talent like Martial, but they both need to do the same thing: hard work, consistency, and realise they've not made it, and then there's still plenty of development left in them, and then I think it could happen. What about Griezmann, says Robel Ejara? He's going to Barcelona, isn't he? Yeah. I mean, look, Manchester United, it's a big point there. Manchester United might go all in for Griezmann, thinking that will keep Pogba at the club. It's an interesting theory. I don't think it'll happen, but it's an interesting theory, because if United sign Griezmann, it's Pogba's best mate. He might stay. Sharath Kamath, but you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't change your transfer strategy to keep a player that's not happy. Sharath Kamath Fitness says, there are so many good players. Is it that the big names are not interested in us anymore, or is the club not smart enough? Lozano for 40 million is a steal. Yeah, but apparently Lozano wants to come to Manchester United. We're just not looking at him. Why is he ignoring Fred, says Clarence. And there's a lot of people talking about Fred in the live comments, because I like Fred, but I don't see any evidence that they're going to play him. It's not really about my opinion. And that's not my predicted 11 there. That's just something I saw today, this morning, that I wanted to show you lot, to show that we could sign 4 players, and I still don't think the team's good enough. Do I think Fred in general has got a chance at Manchester United? I'll be surprised. I'll be surprised if he's nothing more than a bit part player like last season, because there was an opportunity last season where he came into the team, he did quite well, and I thought Solskjaer would stick by him till the end of the season, and he didn't. He dropped him and he brought Matic and McTominay back. So I don't think he's fancied by the coaching staff. Now, whether it's a first season bed in and second season he'll be better, of course there is a potential for that, but I just get the feeling with him and Dalot, Solskjaer doesn't actually rate them that high. I mean, look, you're going to spend £50 million on a 21-year-old right-back who is very good, but you've got a 20-year-old right-back that was bought last year for 20 million that most of the top European clubs wanted to buy. There's 1 year between them, and you've just spent 50 million on another right-back. That, to me, shows that Dalot is not a player that United really think is the player they need at right-back. If they're going to adapt him into a right-winger, I'm going to cry, because I'm fed up of that, banter, B-Tech approach to being a big football club. You don't turn a right-back into a right-winger. But we have done it. We've been doing it for years, because you know why we do it? Even Sir Alex used to do it, because there's not a lot of money coming from the top. So that's why we saw Valencia, a winger, become a right-back, Ashley Young become a left-back. It's ridiculous. But managers do that because they're not given the budget to go and get proper players. So if we're going to use Dalot as a right-winger, to me, that is another indication that Solskjaer can't go out and buy a right-winger. And there will be people in the live comments who say, yeah, but Mark, Dalot could be a great right-winger. Dalot's not a bloody right-winger. Whether we turn him into one or not, when we bought him, he was a right-back who can play left-back. He's not a right-winger. And if you spoke to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer properly, away from publicity, and said, do you want to turn Dalot into a right-winger, or here's 80 million to go and buy a right-winger, he's going to go and buy a right-winger, because Pepe, Lozano, Sancho, they're all better than Dalot as a right-winger. If we use Dalot as a right winger, it's because there's not enough money coming down again, and that's the truth, isn't it? No top manager is going to turn players from their position into another position if they've got money to spend. They do it because they have to make do, and we've been making do at United for a long time. How the hell are we not in for Ruben Neves? Says Chris Jovis. I just don't think he's available. I don't think he's available, Chris. And Zachary Purvis says, only way I'm okay with no new centre-backs is if Axel is thrown in as a first teamer and we decide that we want to let him grow to the team. That's not going to happen, Zachary. I don't think. I think Twansebe needs to go on loan next season to a Premier League club, because if he doesn't, he's going to lose all the development he had last year in the Championship, because the best he'll do is be a bench player every now and again. If he stays at United, without signing anybody, he's going to be behind Lindelof, Jones and Smalling in the ranking, because that's what Ollie does. He loves the old timers. He loves Jonah. He loves Smalling. He loves Young. He loves Lingard. He loves Rashi. He loves the people who've been at this club for a long time. And Twansebe, although he has been at the club a long time, is not going to bypass those players. I'd much prefer James at right wing than Dalot, says Sam. Yeah, I'm 100% with you on that one. Klopp did it with Milner for a season, says S. Saeed. And why did Klopp do it with Milner? For the reason I've just said, because he didn't have the money to go out and get the players he needed to get. Last summer he did. Milner didn't play as much. Why don't we go for Ziyech? Says Yash. Exactly. 25 million, right winger. Specialist right winger as well. I agree. What has happened? Somebody just put in the live comments that Dalot started off as a right winger. Look, I'm not his auntie or his uncle. I don't know what he did in youth football, but we bought him as a right back who can play left back. That's what we bought him for. Don't try and spin this bullshit. Like, Rio Ferdinand was a striker. So if he'd been at United and Sir Alex had started playing Rio up front, are you going to say, well, he started out as a striker? What a silly comment to make. What did we buy Dalot as? A right back who can be a left back. If we turn him into a right winger, Ollie's not turned up at the club and gone, hey, I've been watching Dalot since he was 15. He had a few games as a right winger. Let's get him on the right wing. That's not what I'm... You're not listening to what I'm saying. We're turning a right back into a right winger because there's not the money there to do it. There's not the money to go and buy one, if that happens. But to say Dalot used to play as a right winger so he can be a right winger, you're not listening to the comment. I'm not saying Dalot can't play as a right winger. What I'm saying is we bought him as a right back who can play at left back. If he suddenly starts playing at right wing, that's because we're having to put somebody out there as a right winger because we haven't got the money to go out and buy a right winger. It's obvious. I like the Mata re-sign, but he needs to play as a centre attacking midfielder. His creativity could be a boost rather than putting him on the wing. Thoughts, says Metal Music Reviews. I don't like the Mata signing. I've accepted it now. He's too slow. He's on the decline. And I don't like it when we play with the diamond midfield number 10. I don't like it. There's a lack of width. I think it's confused in the midfield. I think Pogba doesn't play as well. There's too many people hanging around the midfield. I like the 4-3-3. Mata doesn't work in the 4-3-3. 70KQ says, we need consistent performance from the players. Do you think we will get that consistency with the new signings? I think new signings need to come in to give players a kick up the arse, to boost the morale and a hard work ethic. I think that's the most important thing that Ollie's got to implement this summer and next season, is a consistent hard work ethic. There is a big hint and hope with that, because we know the facts portray it that under Mourinho we were always near the bottom of the league for distance covered. We were a slow, pragmatic team, and that's what and you can become lazy because of that. Ollie will want us to be one of the fastest, quickest pressing teams, so players who are going to fall by the wayside if they can't do it. Matt Rogers, Marseille are willing to let Torven. Would you take him at United? Willing to sell Torven? Would you take him at United? I mean, look, you can talk about players like that. You can talk about Timo Werner. I've seen people talking about Werner. There's not really much point in me saying anything about those players until we actually are heavily linked with them, because there's loads of players out there, isn't there? There's loads of players out there. What I want to see is concrete links to players and deals nearly being done. My big concern always with United is that when have we ever signed a player out of the blue? I think Eric Bailly was the one that really sort of came out of the blue. We're so bad at it. We know a signing is going to happen 2 weeks before it's official, and that worries me, because in 2 weeks' time we're actually getting on a plane to go on tour. So where are these signings? That's a very good point, actually. We do always know when we're going to sign players, don't we? We know a couple of weeks in advance. Like Wan-Bissaka, if he signed tomorrow, well, we've known for 2 weeks. Same with Daniel James. We knew for ages. Fred, Delot, Pogba, Zlatan. We knew for ages before they actually were official. Well, where are these players then? Because in 2 weeks, we're getting on a plane to go to Australia, and we know it normally takes that amount of time from being linked to being official anyway. Where are they? I hope Bruno Fernandes is one of them. Off subject, would you rather have Dybala or Griezmann, says Charles B. I'd rather have Griezmann. I think Griezmann's the better player. Andreas Evardson, would you take Joshua King from Bournemouth for replacing Lukaku? He is strong, fast, good on the ball and has a good work rate. Over Lukaku I would, but I'd do the Icardi deal, to be honest. And Nick P, how did we go from needing a rebuild and a transfer budget of at least 250 million to now being told we don't have enough cash and need to sell to buy? Well, if that's true, Nick, I personally don't agree with that. It doesn't mean it's not true, but I don't agree with it. Okay, well, let me just have a quick look. Please do smash a like on the video, everybody, and make sure you subscribe, bottom right hand corner. And yes, United Stand. I'm wearing a United Stand polo because it's finally hot today. It is hot today, so I'm wearing a United Stand polo. Make sure if you want to get your hands on any of our merch, the link is in the video description for that. But also, United Stand FC Twitter launched yesterday, 24 hours. We've got 2,500 followers. We're trying to hit 5,000 followers in 48 hours. So if you are on Twitter and you've not followed the United Stand FC account, there's some good clips up on there. There's the coming together between me and DT. Good banging goal from Rance. A bit of an introduction to some of the players we've got playing for us. Lots of content coming out for that. Video description. Take you straight to the Twitter page. Give us a follow and support. Thanks everybody for watching. That's your quick transfer update. We will be back with a video at 8 o'clock tonight as per usual. And obviously if anything major happens, we'll go live. But it doesn't feel like it, does it? It doesn't feel like it. Thanks for watching. I shall speak to you all soon. Have a great Saturday afternoon, whatever you're doing. If you're out in the sun, make sure you put your sun cream on. Watch out for streakers. I'll see you very soon. Thanks for watching.